Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Welcome to the F.A.C.E show, Friday NFP day. It's the big one. We've got three big things that happened today. Got the NFP, got Canadian jobs, and we've got this blooming Supreme Court case coming up. It could be a pretty hectic Friday to end our first trading week of 2026. Good afternoon, Stel. Good afternoon, Kay.
Morning,
Hello.
morning, New York. Good afternoon, Europe.
Yep, and good evening further east in Asia. They're all on the sake now, probably about now in the karaoke bars. Right, Bran, if you are asking now on a Friday, 2 hours before it's going to happen, when is the announcement? Then you need to go and do a bit more research, my old pal, because we've only been talking about this all day, all week long. Yes, I have given you the answer. Well picked up. Oh, Gregor's here as well. Hi, Gregor. How's it going?
Hey, mate. Actually, my fingers are freezing. We have like -5 outside.
Oh, blimey. What? Put some gloves on. That's
Yeah.
nice suggestion.
Or go back inside.
Yeah, go back inside.
I just came, so I will be fine in a few minutes.
Yeah, I've got a picture of you sitting on your garden chair covered in snow on your laptop. Yeah, no, get back inside, mate. Right, so we've got quite a bit to look at, quite a bit to discuss. Firstly, we're just going to go through some of the bits and pieces that we were talking about on the Flow Show, just to get you Yankee Doodles up to speed on things. We're seeing a bit of a dollar bid in today. Dollar yen's had a little break up through this. Well, I say a little break up, a 70 pip break up through that 157 level. When I've been talking about this this week, we just had this uptrend this week, not huge, but it's the pressure's finally given out, and we've had this break up. There's no real news behind it. We did have a sources piece from the Bank of Japan saying that they're unlikely to hike in January. They may downgrade CPI forecasts, upgrade growth forecasts, all on the back of the fiscal spending. But otherwise, nothing overly hawkish from them. But we know the position they're in at the moment. They will hike when they see fit. Whether that's next month, 2 months, 3 months, is down to them. We were discussing this morning, the likely time that they may hike is probably after the spring, once they know all the spring wages, all those deals, and got through the fiscal year. They may be in a better position to see whether their outlook is realised once more. So the dollar, as I say, generally looking a bit hotter. Kay, again, as we were discussing earlier, we're still in intervention window. And I think, as we were saying, a break up through 158 today and a swift move higher. We need to be careful.
Yeah, my question was this morning whether the MOF will get really annoyed if we change the big figure and we print 160 quite soon, which, let's face it, could be. Yen is volatile enough to do another 1.5%, which would take us then very close to the 160 if this afternoon's report beats expectations, first of all on the employment, and then if nothing really dramatic comes out of that SCOTUS meeting. So the two combined could see a bit of volatility creeping in the dollar market, and then especially on the yen side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And that this dollar move that we're seeing, it's hitting around the grounds. Both cable euro dollar are edging lower. We're around the 116, 40, 50 area in euro dollar. If I can tighten that up a bit slack. So we're around the we've gone through the 50 retracement, or around about the 50 retracement of the move that we had since November. One thing to note is that we've got a big option expiry today at 115, which looks a bit far from here, but you never know. If we've crept down in the next 30 minutes towards that 116 figure, and if the US data is super hot, that could put us on for maybe a move down there. It's doubtful, but never rule it out, as we like to say. Okay, we've got a bit of a sticky area here around this 116.30s, 50s. It's going to need monitoring, I think, today, where we finish the week, above or below.
As I was saying on the flow show, maybe euro dollar, if you look across the spectrum of FX, obviously it's still been a slow grind. But euro dollar maybe looking the one that is amongst those who could be slightly more resilient. I think on good data, stuff like cable, dollar yen, maybe Kiwi. CAT depends on how the Canadian jobs reports comes out, but those may be better dollar pairs, but just relative one to the other. Seems like euro is going slightly slower than the rest of those dollar pairs. So if we get a good report, there may be better dollars to be long of, other currencies short of. And I think if you look at the other side of the spectrum, then I'm still thinking that Aussie may be one that, if we really get a bad outcome for the dollar this afternoon, may still be one of those that could do a bit better. Yeah, that's the other side of the spectrum. If we really get bad news, though, I think we have to look at the metals again, who could be a bit explosive if that gold rams back up through 4,500, or silver 78 3/4, 80 around there. If those data are bad, those are probably the ones that I'll be looking to sell dollars. But yeah, that's kind of how I look at the sensibility of things going into this double bubble, really, NFPs and SCOTUS meeting.
Yeah, and the risk for traders today is that we get a big number over the NFP and the market goes a bit bonkers, and then it has to decide what it wants to do going into the SCOTUS thing, or we get an inline number and the market gets over it pretty quickly, and then maybe it goes into a bit of a treading water mode, a bit quiet until we get that decision, and then we have to worry about what happens then. So it's going to be, you can't really run with the data, because we're going to run into that SCOTUS thing, and the market isn't going to have too much risk on the table running into that. So just be careful with your positions. If you manage to get some quick pips over the NFP, lock it in, take some off the table, manage your risk, just in case you get thrown around with that SCOTUS stuff. But it's definitely going to be interesting. Gregor, I notice you're here. You got any thoughts for NFP, and you're going to share some charts?
Yeah, sure. Just a sec.
While Greg is getting set up, I've put the link to our NFP competition in the Zoom chat. If you haven't made your guess yet, go ahead, hit that link and stick it in that tweet.
Okay, so basically on the dollar, or I should begin with start of the year flows. Normally how I experience the markets at the start of each year, that we really should not trust much the direction that we see on the first normal trading week. So usually what I notice is that this kind of a direction tend to be retraced. So I'm seeing this recovery from the mid of holidays, actually, that when the dollar put in a bottom, that this is still the same flows when a lot of traders maybe went away for the holidays, and they are still not really sure maybe how they will position themselves going into this year. So I'm seeing this still like the part of that story, and would not be surprised if we see some kind of a reversal or limited upside here maybe next week, when we will have this non-farm payrolls report behind. And from an Elliott wave perspective, I also think it's worth to watch this ABC rally into the 61.8%, because the previous drop can be counted in 5 waves. So I'm still on a bearish side here for the dollar. I think as long as we are trading below 100.40, that there is basically either a neutral or a bearish resumption of this trend. So with this set, I'm observing what will happen on the euro dollar as well as silver. I mean, euro dollar is having, if we go to the daily chart first, it's showing us some very nice, beautiful potential triangle here. Of course, in a triangles, wave E sometimes can be small and short. Normally in textbook stuff, you will see the retest of this trend line. So if someone is watching and trying to define some super levels, I think that 115.50 up to 116, that's the area where I would want to see stabilization. So usually also when we got non-farm payrolls reports out, we may see some sharp moves on the intraday basis, but then like we have seen several times in the past, that these moves can very quickly be reversed later on. So even if we see some kind of a drop here, I still think that by the end of the day, we could see maybe the prices and trend here with this weakness will slow down around, as I said, 1.16. And then I may even look for some longs here going into the next week. Probably nothing today, but if we see maybe this level tested and market will stabilize down here, I think that it could be worth giving a try here on the upside. But as I said, everything comes from the idea that dollar is still in a bearish trend and that maybe these cycles at the beginning of the year are going to be retraced. Also, looking at silver, as you know, silver has seen a very nice blow off top here. Again, it topped out during holidays. Not really surprised that we have seen this drop later on, but this stabilization right now around $70 makes me think that we are just in another fourth wave. And if you will look, let me go to the smaller time frame, you can from this week, from the opening price at 72.80, you have this minor gap from where markets moved straight to the upside. Then we stopped at the 78.6% and looks like we tried to make some liquidations here before possibly we stabilize. So if we see a bit of more weakness, I would be looking for silver to stop either around this weak price, the opening price around 72.80, and then a bit lower. What I would be watching for is definitely the $70 range. So these are the levels that I would keep an eye on, especially if we will see a bit of more weakness. But the most important of all is that here on silver, this first drop isn't really impulsive, right? So whenever we have moved from the highs, acting in 3 waves or in 7 swings, that means it's most likely a correction. It's totally different story when you have some sharp moves that can be very easily identified with only a sharp one leg. Then obviously it means that market is most likely topped out. But because we then rebounded from that area and still moving sideways, so all the characteristics and personality just indicates that this could be really a wave 4 here. But because of the data and end of the week, maybe it's not a bad idea to be a bit more patient and maybe look for some levels maybe next week. Also, what I can take a look is the S&P 500. So the S&P 500, as I made a blog post today on the F.A.C.E, and they say that keep in mind that from that April lows, we can count 5 waves up. So it's not always easy to say where these 5 waves will finish, but it's certainly important to understand that we are in this final 5th wave. And it's important because we also see VIX at the extreme lows here of these recent ranges. And we know what's the next, I will call it like a next big cycle. It should be, if there's no fear, then simple next cycle is fear, right? So any kind of a new investment ideas in this kind of a situation is certainly much more riskier rather than waiting on some fear, which would allow then prices on stocks to come to the downside. So when it comes to stocks, of course, the 5th wave could still extend a bit higher, but you just have to understand in which kind of a degree of the trend we are. I think that I'm aiming maybe for 7,200 to be the upper side of this channel where we potentially could maybe see some reversals, maybe next month. I certainly do not expect any big changes just yet because of the dollar story, but that's something that I would be watching here moving forward. Also, maybe looking at dollar yen. So as Ryan said, that this one BOG is not ready to make any kind of a move, but they said that they will be watching Japanese yen and active needed. So it looks like that if someone is saying they will be watching, that it means that it's okay for now, but on the other hand, we will act if we will move to even more extremes. So in my eyes, the real extreme or big number could be around to 160. Also, this is slightly above that January 10 high, exactly from a year back. So it will be interesting to see if we get to maybe who knows what the jobs data will trigger if we can retest these highs, and then possibly we will see a reversal in the trends. But for now, it really looks like that this could be some kind of a triangle here. Let me go to the smaller time frame. The triangle here that is just waiting to be broken on the upside. But we are at the top of the range here. So again, any kind of a new positions here would have to wait, or unless you wait on a break and then try to ride the upside. I would be in the camp where I would try to look maybe for some support on dips around to 155 down to 155.50 down to 155. Final one, maybe Bitcoin. So as you know, that's the Bitcoin. Well, you have stocks trading up here. If stocks will slow down, the Bitcoin will drop. It has seen some very nice stop hunt here, going back to pick up stops above December highs. That was a free wave rise. So if the US dollar would suddenly, let's say, that will stay strong today, after, let's say, during the US hours, going into the close today, then I think that it's just a matter of time when this thing will just break out of this channel and continue to the downside. I still think that there is a majority of traders, investors who just want to pick up on the long side on cryptos, but maybe they just acting on the long side because the price seems cheap. But basically, market seems very weak, and it's not easy maybe to play on the long side when you have stocks positioned up here. So that's something that we just have to consider, and maybe rather than looking and playing on the long side on this structure, well, if you see the drop on stocks, you maybe you just take advantage of potential opportunities on the short side. So that's yeah.
Yeah, Gregor, since we have this double US and Canadian unemployment, any views on the Canada?
Yeah, I was reviewing it here this a bit earlier, and looks like we are just running into some serious potential resistance up here. But now, when it comes to the levels or identifying resistance is very easily be visible here. We have this previous swing low. We, by the way, are in bearish trend after all. When we broke out of this corrective channel, we are now at the 50% retracement. So it seems like very interesting zone. But when I'm trying to apply the wave count here, it really looks like just too sharp for this to be confident that that's the end of a wave 4, because this could easily even be counted as an impulse. So as I said earlier with silver, right, that's much more corrective look. And when you have this on dollar CAD, looks much more impulsive. So from an Elliott wave perspective, it's a bit tricky situation, but I still would expect some kind of a reversal to the downside. But when it comes to maybe trying to identify the next real wave based on the Elliott wave terminology, that's a bit tricky at this point. But I would expect at least some pullbacks, and then maybe some stabilization at the lower levels. But sometimes, yes, wave 4 can be also very sharp. But if I will always just try to count any kind of each sharp waves like a corrective wave, then it totally disconnects what I have been saying and discussing about silver here.
Thank you.
Thank you. So basically, that's it.
Thank you very much, Gregor. Thank you very much. What was your number for the NFP, by the way?
72K.
72K. Okay.
Yeah.
What was yours, Kay?
11.
11. Oof, you've knocked
Whoa.
to one of yours, haven't you?
Can I just say,
I hope
guys,
I
can I
hope
just
for 11 so I can buy it a little lower.
can I just say thank you to Gregor? He's such a pro. I really like his analysis and actually agree with most of it, so that makes me happy.
No, now you have to tell him what you don't agree with.
Thank you, man.
No, I really like your stuff, and it's an absolute pleasure every time I listen to you. Contrary to Ryan, who's mediocre at best.
Listen, at
I'm
least he
kidding,
can
I'm
handle his
kidding.
food better than you can, mate.
I'm kidding. Yeah. Okay. Well, we got 9 minutes, so I can, if you want, I can take the charts for a few minutes. I'm not going to say anything new compared to yesterday, but I can take a
Yeah, go
look.
on, mate. Maybe have a look at the yields, and
I
then
got it.
I'll run through the NFP numbers.
And also, it's really cold here as well. The maximum today was only 12 Celsius, but tomorrow is going to be 18, so we're okay. So,
Back on the boat tomorrow, then.
So let's start with the dollar today, because I look at daily charts. The way I trade is not intraday, and on the daily chart we are on pretty important resistance here. So the 50 and the 200 DMA converging pretty much, and it's a fib retracement as well. So they're very important. So I think that if we do see a strong number today, there will be quite a bit of follow through, I think. So I think if we do see strong numbers today, maybe not, obviously not the whole move happening today, but I think within the next few sessions, we're probably going to be testing the 100 level. But of course, this requires a strong number, which I don't know if we're going to get. My guess is 69K, so very close to Gregor. And, if it is a strong number, then there's a couple of things. Dollar CAD, you talked about, we are at, Gregor said we are at the resistance, and this will look like a very nice false breakdown. So it already looks like it, but that will push it quite a bit, I think, if we do get strong data. So CAD is one I'm looking at, and Kiwi as well is at pretty important levels here, 57.10 to 25 or something like that. So that I think could easily run 70, 80 pips lower if we do get a good number. So a couple of things to look at for the numbers today. Yields are still in no man's land as far as I'm concerned, and this line here, this level around 420 is like a magnet, and it has been for a while. So nothing to say on these. S&P looks absolutely fantastic, and the thing is, equities will take good or bad news as a positive. They've done this so many times. So I don't know what kind of data is going to push equities lower at this moment in time. And I like Gregor's outlook for the S&P. And as I said before, on the December FOMC meeting, when they cut, I said I think we've got a quarter of risk on coming. And Gregor showed it. We're on the last wave. But I do think that in the next month or two, I don't see, obviously barring black swan events, I don't see anything that's going to be moving this lower. And it's definitely not looking bearish at all. So, I would caution against shorting this. It just looks too good at the moment. There will come a time when I think it's going to become bearish, but not quite yet. Metals, well, gold, nothing to say, so close to all-time highs. It's still trading very well. And, these little pullbacks in price, I mean, it was what, $100, $150, and the RSI, daily RSI reset completely. This is what you want to see if you're bullish. And it's similar story with silver. It is in the middle of this sideways consolidation. And I liked what Gregor showed. We are, the move lower is not compulsive. And, RSIs have moved lower. It looks like it's preparing itself for the next launch. So again, I wouldn't want to be short this. Of course, this is a very wide range that you can have. Like yesterday's price move, we went down to below 74, I think, or something like that. So it is a very, very, yeah, we got to 73, didn't we? So it's a very wide range. So very tricky to play intraday. But my main view is still bullish, still constructive. Same with platinum. Again, similar story. Nothing new. You know, I'm just repeating what I said yesterday. Unfortunately, for those who weren't here. And Greg, I looked at cryptos, and again, I'm going to repeat. Bitcoin is not looking bullish at all. This looks like a bearish flag or bearish consolidation, and it's definitely underperforming stocks in quite a big way recently. So imagine what happens to this when stocks do turn. So I'll be very careful with cryptos. I don't have anything else to say, so we have what 4 minutes left. Anybody else wants to say anything before we get to the numbers?
You mentioned that you don't know what could trigger this drop on stocks, right?
Yes.
I mean, I think what if the number is really, really bad?
When you say really, really bad, like minus 50.
Just
minus 50.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that the market will think, all right, this is it. More rate cuts QE coming. So what does the market do?
But still, maybe till this market realizes, it could lose maybe 2-3% easily, I think. I mean, I remember that I think it was in August 2024 when we got this bad jobs data, and we fell aggressively just from that Friday, and continued lower in the next week. It was back in August 2024.
Was it July or August? Oh, August, there you go. Maybe this drop.
Yeah,
okay.
And it was a massive drop back then. So I'm just wondering if maybe we could get some real shakeout before market stabilize. And certainly that's something that maybe it would be much easier for markets to continue higher after such a strong move to the upside. So
yeah,
everyone is just waiting for reason why to get out rather than to get in.
That's a good point, although I think we really need to see a very, very bad number. So below negative 100, we need to see 2 or 3 of those. You know, one number, I don't know. It's a tough one. I just don't see any scenario right now where stocks fall. And it's scary. It's really scary. Obviously, if there's, World War III happening, of course, that's going to be different. But data-wise, you have to see something really catastrophic for this to start. So,
day by day.
Day by day, yeah.
Day by day. Still, I'm going to grab the screen for you quickly. Katie,
take it, my friend.
Just a couple of things I want to show briefly. Obviously, here are the numbers. We're expecting 66,000 on this calendar, 70 on another, between 50 and 70. Anything around that, the market's going to take in its stride. Unemployment rate's expected to come in at 4.5, so a little bit better. As always, keep an eye on that participation rate, because that can affect the unemployment rate, and then keep an eye on wages after that. Canadian jobs, these guys don't do a good job of forecasting these estimates. All over the place they are, so pretty much ignore that. Look at what we did last month, which was another game.
Are you sharing the screen right now? I can't see it.
Am I sharing?
Yeah, I see the calendar.
Okay, then it's just me. Sorry. Okay.
No problem. And obviously look at the revolving door, as we call it, the difference between full-time and part-time. There was a lot of part-time workers put on in November, could be seasonal, so they may still be in play for December, or they could wash out a bit for there as well. And again, unemployment rate expected up at 6.7. Keep an eye on that participation rate. Now with the NFP, we are also getting revisions, annual revisions, and God knows what they're going to be with all the shutdown stuff. Sorry, Kay, go on.
Are they today?
Yeah, they're today.
Oh, really?
They're today. I forgot. I've just checked it out. I've just looked. I remember to have a little look on the BLS website, and yeah, we're getting the revisions.
Oh,
so that could add an extra bit of spice to that one.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. My pleasure. Any last thoughts, Kay, before we get into the number?
No, so as I said at the start of the show, selective for what will be expected as a good or bad number, depending on the ones I have my currencies that I'm want to trade. As I said, I think if it's a good one, cable could be another cosh. I agree with Stella as well on the Kiwi. That's still the weakest sister of the antipodians. And on a bad one, probably the metals are going to push through.
Well, here we
Let's
go.
see.
Here we go.
50K.
50K. So that's round about
unemployment goes down
4.4
0.1.
unemployment rate, 4.4.
Yeah. But a big jump in the
Participation rate dropped 0.1. So that's probably the reason. Okay. Average hourly earnings 0.2 better than expected on the year to year. So
yeah,
it's a big mixed bag, isn't it?
Well, that actually makes the unemployment a bit worse. Let me have a look.
No, when participation rate falls, then unemployment rate falls, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, the unemployment rate's come down. Sorry, yeah, my mistake. Canadian numbers as well.
Good in the mix. Good in the mix. The Canadian. It's the gains are in full time.
Yeah, so it's a good positive number there. So it's a bit of a.
But the unemployment rate shoots up with the participation rate.
Participation rate in Canada also went up 0.3%. So there you go. That's a.
And what have we got going on? Absolutely nothing. A little bit of a jump in the dollar, but it's all gone backwards again. So I think the market, there's nothing bad in this data. I think that's the first thing to take a note of. It's ticking along, I think, guys. I don't know if we've got enough here to bring a big move, but yeah, let's wait and see.
Stocks will like it, most likely. I don't know. No reason for stocks to go down, these numbers.
No, it's had a little tick up as well, S&Ps. But yeah, nothing's going anywhere too fast. The 2-month payroll revision took off 76,000. Last month got revised from 64,000 to 56,000. I can't see any headlines about the annual revisions. Do shout out if you can see those, guys. There we go. Payrolls rose 584,000 in 2025 versus 2 million in 2024. That's just the revision. Some of the revisions coming out. We'll have to look at that. But yeah, nothing. Any thoughts about that data, Kate?
No, not
neither
really.
Here nor there.
No, not really. No, absolutely not. I'm. No, the stocks are taking it positively. Dollars giving it back a little bit. No, I've got not too much to say about that. No, absolutely not. Still think that if we get a bit of a drop there, a further drop closer to 157 in dollar yen, I may give it a try. There's nothing in this report unless maybe I didn't catch all the revisions unless those revisions were real crap. But
yeah, let's have a look. Gregor, any thoughts to those numbers?
Basically, I like the number that it's not too far away. That would maybe give us any kind of a big surprise. So I think that market and euro dollar, when I'm looking at just now, could really stabilize since we are not seeing any kind of a big surprises, as I said. So I think that 1.16 to 1.1613 is something to watch here going into the next week.
Yeah, thank you very much, mate. I don't know if is Blake joining us today still, do you know? Or I know we haven't got an interview today, so...
No, I don't think he is, so we could wrap it.
Yeah, and we'll get into the details of this NFP report back in our chat room. Please don't forget, we've also got a sale on our trader funding program. You can grab 30% off all our assessments. I shall put that link in the Zoom chat there. You use code NEWYEAR26 to get 30% off our assessment and instant funding accounts. Right, I'm going to be running off to see who's won on our NFP competition. And
we have a very close one in the room.
Yeah, and that you weren't too far with your 40k either. I hope you get some.
Jurian guessed 49 apparently.
Oof.
Blake's
Here's
here.
Blake. He is here. Oh,
Hey.
we nearly finished without you.
Oh no, I was not gonna not get here and see what you guys have to say about today's numbers. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, you have to watch the recording because we said it.
Yeah, we were going down the pub.
Exactly.
You're on your own, mate. It's all yours.
Oh hey, okay. Let me ask you guys this. First thing, and do you mind if I take the charts really quick, Ryan?
Yeah, it cost you.
Okay, I'm going to leave a quarter by the toilet, and there you go. So we saw this move higher in yields. The 10-year, it tried to break out, and then we got a reversal, and now we're seeing, the dollar give back some of these gains. And I know. Well, let me check. Greg is here. Greg, I need to ask you something, buddy. You've been saying it all week, and I'm gonna pull up your charts here in your Elliott wave charts. Let's go take a look at your 4-hour, and actually let's just go to the daily because I think the daily is best, because you've had this chart on Forex Analytics for the entire week, saying, "Hey, I'm gonna look for a move down to the lower 116s, and then we're going to 120 after that." Is that still the case right now? Because we basically just did exactly as you had anticipated.
Yeah, I think that I just said to Ryan earlier that I think that we could now stabilize here going into the next week, and possibly we will see another push to the upside. I think that this dollar rally, these flows will be reversed that are still here from the beginning of January, which will very rarely stay in the game for, let's say, for the whole month. So markets always do cycles, moves back and forth, and I think that some of the dollar rally that we are seeing right now will be reversed in the next few weeks.
Okay, and thank you very much, Greg. I mean, it's been a great look. It's been a great view. You've nailed it. But here's the question I got to ask. I'm going to ask Ryan. I want to ask K-Man, Stelios. I want to ask all of you guys. I don't know if Steve's still here. I want to ask all of you guys this. We have this Supreme Court ruling. It's what do they call it? Opinion day? No, opinion, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting, right? But let's go back and just look when we put on tariffs. So that means, when we had, let me go over to my charts really. When we had Liberation Day, right? The dollar got absolutely mauled, and we saw the dollar just here. I'm going to get over there right now. You can see the dollar just came under tremendous pressure. It took us down from 103 basically into the high 90s. Are we going to see a reversal of that should the Supreme Court rule with their opinions that what Trump is doing is deemed, unconstitutional? Let's start with K-Man. K-Man, I just heard you perk up. So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen to the dollar today?
I'm just checking on what happened there. Just to 6. I think if they opened, I mean, the surprise trade. The surprise would be, first of all, we don't know if there's going to be a ruling today, but the surprise would be if they append, if they keep the, so basically to say that Trump was right. That would probably weigh on the dollar, in my opinion. But if they rule against it, I trust the U.S. administration is already ready with all those other numbers, articles they can use to put them back in place. So it's a bit of a flip the coin for me. The immediate reaction, I mean, if they call them unlawful, could be a case of both. In both cases, that the dollar is coming a little bit under pressure just because of the ruling against it. But
that's the point. Sorry, K-Man. I just want to say I think that is where my head is at. It's like I don't know if there's anything that can happen today that is really dollar positive.
Well, actually, if you look at people looking at the equity markets, they say like if the SCOTUS categorically rule against the tariffs, it's going to be very good for small to mid-sized enterprises because they're going to get refunded. And I don't know, maybe people think that may underpin somewhere the dollar as well. But it's to me, it's a difficult read for me exactly to know. And I was saying on the flow show as well, on this SCOTUS thing, I'm going to be more reacting than proacting, really on what comes out, because there's a case for both sides of the coin. Really, that's to me at least. Yeah. So yeah, I'll react to moves rather than proact.
Okay, all right. Well, Ryan, what do you think about that? And I guess we just missed Stelios. I think he had to bow out, which is a shame. All right. So Ryan, what are you thinking?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I mean, just looking at this data here and the moves here, I don't really see anything why the dollar should be weakening. I've just tapped cable for a little entry short. I'll keep an eye on the highs we've just made. Yeah, we know with this tariff stuff, the market is leaning towards it's going to be bad news. So that's probably a bit priced in. It's just a question of whether it's moderately bad, really bad, or just going to be a mess moving forward. So I'm a bit on your side that the risk is potentially to the dollar. But yeah, I don't know what the market's doing with it now. Maybe we're just clearing the decks a bit ahead of that decision because now we've had these numbers. There's nothing horrendous in them. The market's going to be looking at the risk of this thing perhaps and taking some chips off the table.
All right. Well, it's going to be messy. So, and that's one of the things that we've been talking about all week is that today's move following the jobs report was going to be somewhat muted anyway, because we are all really waiting in anticipation what's going to happen in about an hour and 20 minutes from now. And it could even happen a little bit earlier than that. I was just talking to Craig Shapiro, who's really, really good macro guy. And he's like, yeah, I mean, we could actually see some of these opinions come out even before 10 a.m. And so just keep that in mind. Everybody, as traders, we like to say, okay, what's the time? When's it coming out? Give me that number is going to come out any moment now. I got 10 seconds, 5. But in this case, it might not be as how should I say, punctual as you think. We are dealing with the Supreme Court here. This is not economic data. No, anyway. Well, Ryan, K-Man, Grega, any last minute thoughts before we wrap things up? And I do want to say that, guys, if you're this is like the place you want to be is the Forex Analytics chat room, because this is where you're going to get our opinions on what's happening. Is right in the chat room. So if you're like, oh, I can't listen to the live show, you guys aren't going to have a live show. No, we don't. And we don't broadcast on a Friday at this time. It's kind of unorthodox for us, but we will be in the chat rooms, believe me, because this will be market moving. And so if you want to join us, take a trial of Forex Analytics. It's $1. $1. You got 10 days of access. Jump in the chat room with us today. But Ryan, any last minute thoughts before we wrap things up?
No, just to say thank you everyone for coming to F.A.C.E. And apologies for the disruption that we've had this week. All of us sort of scrabbling around to cover Dale unfortunately leaving us, and great job for you, Blake, jumping in here, there and everywhere to doing the interviews, and we'll be back to some sort of normality, I hope, next week.
Next week we will be back to normality. I won't be filling in over on on the Ninja Trader show, so I'll be here with you guys on F.A.C.E. K-Man, I'm going to ask you for last minute things, but I want to say, guys, jump onto our newsletter. It's free. You just go to forexanalytix.com. Right in the middle it says something big is coming. Jump into our newsletter. Make sure you're subscribed. This way you're going to be notified and be one of the first to access trading analytics, which is coming soon. So if you want to learn about it, we don't spam your email. I mean, we have a one weekly newsletter. It kind of tells you what's coming up next week, how the markets are, what, certain things to look at, and you'll get the week ahead video delivered to your inbox. So just sign up for the newsletter. It's free. K-Man, last minute thoughts before we go into the weekend.
I'm going to be boring, and I'm going to be saying that we trade the range until SCOTUS, and then we don't know. But no, I mean a couple of levels. Just keep an eye on cable, maybe in that 134.50-70 zone. If it can't rally above, sterling not being a particularly liked currency, it may just cap around there and come back down a little bit. And really, I think if dollar yen comes closer to 157 with what we have seen coming into today's session, we could find a bit of bias there. But I do think that we are more range trading than anything else ahead of that SCOTUS thing.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, and I believe so too. Grega, like I said, great call on the euro. You've been all over it this week. And if you guys didn't read Grega's outlook into 2026, make sure you follow Forex Analytix on X, on Twitter. We posted it on our blog. You can just go to the website. Grega posted it there. Really good views. So any last minute thoughts? Oh, I think he left. I think Grega just left. Dang, he left before I could get to him. So, sometimes you got kids, you got to take care of them. K-Man, Ryan.
He's out playing in the snow with his kids. He was been posting it on Twitter all day long.
Well, at least he took a moment to spend some time with us through the jobs report. We can all appreciate that. So anyway, thank you guys for really holding down the fort this week. I appreciate you. And so everybody, I'm looking forward to seeing you all on the F.A.C.E show Monday. Don't forget, watch the Flow show, catch up with Ryan and K-Man every day. And then also the week ahead video is going to get filmed in approximately probably about 3 hours from now. And by the way, if you guys watched the Ole Miss Miami game, yes, I was at the game. Yes, the bus ride on the way home was a lot different from the bus ride there to the stadium last night, but it was a great season nonetheless. And, congratulations to Miami, and, and Indiana's playing tonight. It's going to be a great weekend for college football. You guys all have a great weekend. Ryan, K-Man, thank you guys.
Thanks, mate. You too.